This is going to be my first preview for the Ravens-Browns Week 4 matchup in Cleveland. I'm going to switch the days up. Normally I do Ravens defense versus the opposing team's offense on Saturday, and then Ravens offense versus the opposing team's defense on Sunday. I'm going to switch it up for a few reasons. Number one, I just finished all the database entry for the Ravens offense from Week 3. Finished it Thursday afternoon. And as such have all the season data tabulated. I think except for 2 of the possessions in overtime against the Colts. So I'm kind of able to reference that. It's a little bit fresh in my mind. Second reason is because the Browns defense has been so dominant thus far. I mean, they've allowed only 491 yards of offense total in 3 games against Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee. Now, it's not that those offenses haven't been great otherwise against other teams, but the Bengals have played much better except for that first week against the Browns. And let's be real. The Browns are 2 Steelers defensive touchdowns away from being 3-0. And obviously George Pickens had a long touchdown catch for a score. Otherwise, they didn't give up a touchdown against the Steelers offense at all. Once Cleveland, think of it this way too. Once Cleveland took a 22-19 lead in Week 2 against the Steelers, in the second half, here's what Pittsburgh's offense did the rest of the way. 5 plays punt, 5 plays punt, 3 plays punt. TJ Watt gets a scoop and score for a touchdown against the Browns offense. And then the last possession for the Steelers is 3 plays punt, and then they get the ball back and are able to take a knee. Clearly the Browns defense is the better side for them. I do think that the Browns offense eventually can hit another gear. I think they've just got too much talent over there to not be able to score more points, generate more offense. Of course, it's a difficult thing to do when they don't have Nick Chubb. What I'd like to do here is review some of the things that the Ravens offense has done well, or at least focus on against the Colts last week, because I think that's the week where we have the most concerns because we were so inconsistent. And I think there was at least 4 things that the Ravens offense did well. I'll summarize them here real quick. Attacking to the boundary with the pass, with specific formations, specific looks. If you watched my videos this week, you probably already know what I'm talking about. Short passes, getting the ball out quicker, particularly to Zay Flowers, but to a couple of other people as well. Andrews likely had a drop, obviously, but it was a quick pass. And then Rashad Bateman, short passes. Some quarterback runs. We really ate up the Colts with quarterback runs. I mean designed quarterback runs. QB counter read and QB draw. And then the pass scramble stuff that's really hitting people tough this year. We did have some run success with Gus Edwards and Melvin Gordon, so I'll talk about that a little bit. I think if we're not able to get some type of run game going against the Browns, we're in real trouble offensively. And then the screens. We have 3 good examples of screens against the Colts last weekend. I'm going to be honest with you. I compare the Colts defense to the Browns defense favorably. Fast, physical, very sound coverage-wise, with 2 exceptions for the Colts. Once we've talked about that Ravens stuff, then I'll review some of the film from the Browns. We may have too much film here, and if you think I do as we get going, if you stick around long enough, feel free to let me know. So we'll review some Browns defensive film. I do have a lot of Browns film saved. I think I probably have 120, 140, somewhere around there plays so far from weeks 1 through 3. I've been able to, someone contacted me and gave me a really great idea for how to organize things on my computer in terms of the film. So I'm now able to go find on my computer quickly all instances of like 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 6. And so I'm going to focus on 3rd down here, to be honest with you, the Browns' 3rd down defense. And I'll talk about some of the things they're doing well. And it's more than just, Myles Garrett and Grant Delpit and other guys. Everybody on that unit is playing well. Everything's very coordinated. And then I'll speculate on some of the things that maybe the Ravens can do to attack them. If you're interested, I do offer a Patreon Discord whereby you can join the Patreon and get access to the Discord. It's a closed community for Ravens fans to discuss things in a more balanced and realistic way than maybe we're forced to deal with on some of the social media platforms that are out there where people get really reactionary after their team loses, which you can kind of understand clearly. So let's get to some of the things that we did really well against the Colts, and that maybe we've been doing well so far this year. And then I'm going to talk about at least 2 things that really, really disappointed me in the offense last week. So first things first. We've been talking about this for a long time, that Todd Monken will attack to the boundary. We saw very clear evidence of that last week. throwing to the boundary, attacking up the field against at least one somewhat unsound coverage that the Colts used. I've talked about this in the video where you've got cover 3 for everybody essentially here over. And then this is man. It's not uncommon against trips, but this is not a trip set. This is a 2x2 set. So playing man to that backside allows likely to run free, run right past the linebacker safety level. We often attacked with Flowers and Andrews into the boundary, into the short side of the field. They were lined up there together a lot. And this is another example of the same concept I just showed you. Complete to Andrews, up the right seam, top of the numbers, vertical. A 2x2 set. The backside corner, who played extremely well, I thought, for the Colts, Julius Brents. Actually, that doesn't look like Brents up there to me, but maybe it is. But in any case, they basically were man turning that up to the top side. Flowers just running them off, and the tight end wide open running up the seam. Eventually forced the Colts to adjust their coverage versus 2x2 with the tight end and the running back into the boundary. If Monken can find something like that in this Browns defense, some coverage weakness, something that we can exploit for a couple of 20-yard passes like those, that'll be huge, and that's his job. Speed out to Bateman down here at the boundary, I believe. Again, attacking to the boundary with the pass. Decisive, quick, I don't want to say designed, but plays that Lamar knows are probably going to be there because of the boundary side coverage that the Colts are pretty much forced to play until they roll that boundary side safety down, which they did start to do in the third quarter. Quick stuff, getting the ball out of Lamar's hands, getting the ball into playmakers' hands. This is Andrews and Flowers to the boundary. You've really got mirrored routes here. I talked about this in another video where Flowers and Bateman are essentially running the same route. And one thing that we talked about, now Bateman's not playing this week, but Lamar is clearly either being told to look to Flowers' side or that's just what he's choosing to do. Now, I would offer that it's quite possible that's the side he's being told to read, because I've been talking about this for over 2 months. Todd Monken attacks to the boundary. He's going to force the boundary side safety to come down because of the threat of the run, and now he's added QB counter read into the boundary as well, which is going to cause real problems for defenses that, for the most part, set their nickel coverage to the field. Now, look, the Colts' speed and pursuit was incredible, on par with the Browns. Like I said, I really can't wait to see those teams play in Week 7, to see those two defenses go at it, so that we can then compare them facing each other. Now, it's possible that the Colts defense falls off after this Ravens game, and maybe we're overestimating what we saw, but I think it's a mixture of both. The Ravens offense did some things poorly and inconsistently, and the Colts are very physical and very fast, and they're coached very well. One more throw into the boundary, little 4-yard route to Zay Flowers, and you see how special he is after the catch. That's Julius Brents, 6'4", 205-pound rookie corner, all the physical attributes in the world. I did a video on him this week, just his play against the Ravens, and Zay just breaks his tackle. But the pursuit, look at the pursuit of the Colts. This is what you're going to get with the Browns too. A ton of guys at the football, particularly if you break a tackle. All right, so one of the things the Ravens did that I really liked was designed QB runs, but into the boundary. QB counter read is being run into the boundary here. Mustipher gets kind of bowed back. Zeitler's got a really difficult block, which he handled. It was DeForest Buckner, and Zeitler did a great job on this particular play. I don't know about you, but it surprised me how much we ran with Lamar by design. I did not think that was going to be a focus of this offense so early in games. It certainly bore fruit. We had 2 touchdown runs, that one on QB counter read, this one on QB draw. I'm not sure how often we're going to be able to continue to do these things out of empty in these situations down here near the goal line. Have we been better in the red zone? It certainly seems so to me. So we got no reason to complain there from the results. From a personal standpoint, I didn't want to see Lamar running the ball this much by design. I looked for it this week. Maybe somebody smarter than me would have the data or know where to find it. We've got a lot of designed QB runs and pass scrambles in my database. I've got 17 instances of pass scramble through 3 games. Clearly, I don't keep track of offensive data for other teams like I do for the Ravens. I'm trying to for the Lions, but it's really difficult to keep up with just in terms of the amount of time that it takes. But my point is, I wonder how many other teams have even 10 pass scrambles through 3 games. It certainly seems like we have a lot so far. All right, we did have some success running the football. So far this year in my database, I have us averaging 4 yards per carry, players other than Lamar, on regular run plays. This is somewhat irregular because it's unbalanced, but it does go for 10 yards for Gus. Scrambles is where we're really getting big chunks. Although Gus does have multiple big runs this year. He had a 20-yarder against this Colts team. I think he had a 10-yarder against this Colts team. I am concerned about the run game. I am concerned that we are not getting downhill on people. This is a beautiful trap play that we ran against the Colts. It's a little bit of a variation off of the way we ran it against the Bengals. I'm not giving you the end zone angle on all of these plays, but against the Bengals, we ran it from the same formation, twin slot. So this is the twin side, this is the slot side. So if you don't say A or B, then it's under center. It's understood that's under center. Against the Bengals, actually it was the Texans, my apologies, week 1. Ricard trapped the front side D tackle, so kind of like a down trap. And so off of that down block by him, Gus hit it outside of that block, off the right or outside hip of Ricard. This time he's going to be trapping the backside D tackle. So this is cool. Same formation, trap concept. But now we're trapping the backside guy. And you can see the seam that's created, this time between Zeitler and Mustafa. Big gain by Gus, getting him downhill. I'd love to see us trap the Browns some, don't get me wrong. I'd especially, because then we can get up to their linebacker level. One of the things we have not done when he's played against us is we have not even assigned people to block JOK. We haven't done that. He's always been running free. This is one of the concepts I'd like to see us run more, and then use that same motion by Ricard and go play action, particularly on first down. But I am concerned about the run game in terms of how consistent we are, and if we don't get a run game established. I'm not talking about running for 180 yards, but we're running for a lot of yards as a team. Lamar is leading the team in rushing again. We do have talented backs. Gus apparently is going to play this week. I am interested, though, to be honest with you, if we get Justice Hill and Drake active on Sunday together, because there is some opportunity to throw the football to the running backs against this Browns defense, and I intend to show you some film of it here a little bit later. If we could get some type of consistent run game going against this Browns team, I'm not talking about averaging 5.5 yards per carry with our running backs. I'm talking about averaging 3.8 to 4.3, somewhere in there with just our running backs. Lamar's going to give us some on some scrambles and maybe some designed runs. We've got to take a little bit of the pressure off him, but I understand we've been missing Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum for 2 weeks. JK's out for the year. My concern with some of the run game stuff is the play calls, and I'll show you that in a minute when I talk about the things I did not like. Screens, we did very well. We had 3 really nicely done screens, one of which I'll break down. This is the fumble by Drake on the second possession. When we're rolling, we can't afford turnovers against this Browns team. Our defense, we expect them to play well. We can't give them a short field so they can generate a touchdown or a field goal with only having to go 30 yards or something like that. We've got to force their offense to execute against us, particularly with Deshaun Watson apparently dealing with a sore shoulder. The Browns have been beat on third down by some running backs. I'll show you at least 2 instances of that here a little bit later. This is Drake again. What you'll notice about these screens, guys, by the way, I didn't mention this after the first one, they're all to the boundary. Every single one of them is to the boundary. Todd Monken is intent on attacking to the boundary. I think he's trying to force teams to get into a one-high look by rolling their boundary side safety down, which you can see we've accomplished here for the most part, and then trying to attack to the field. In order for us to do that with our current receiver room, with the health of it, with no OBJ, no Rashad Bateman, I think we probably have to move Zay Flowers to the field this week, but at least sometimes. I think this is the last screen. This was to Zay. This is a great play. I will break this one down. We've ran this pin pull pitch, or some people will call it crack toss. It's not a toss. It's a pitch play. When the quarterback opens to the running back, that's pitch. If he reverse pivots, like let's say Lamar was under center, and he opened his chest this way and then turned that way to toss the football, that's a toss. Okay, that's at least what I was taught. So pin pull pitch or crack pitch is what we've been running. Look at the reaction it gets from all these guys. Look at the flow it gets. Downhill flow. That tells you how much they're looking at Lamar. Makari, you can see, is sneaking out of here. We're getting the screen to Zay. Simpson's there, so 3-on-3. Great pursuit by the Colts, and this is what you're going to get by the Browns as well. But I still really like this play because we're using our own tendency of running pin pull pitch to bunch A a lot and then going to the backside of it. I am impressed with some of the stuff that Monken does. We've been running that pin pull pitch a lot, pulling the tight end, pulling the right tackle, and the running back getting out there with Justice Hill. Now we've shown the screen backside here. I'd like to see us this week do something. We got to get time to do this, but I'd like to see us do the fake pitch, look backside to Zay, and then come back up top here to somebody sneaking out. Some type of addition or variation to the things we've already established, the things we've already shown on film. Defenses watch film, they identify formations, and they're going to adjust to us. Okay, now some stuff that I did not like. There's going to be less time and less space against the better defenses. The Browns are fast. Sometimes it looks like they got 12 guys on the field. They're that good. It's all of them. It's not just Myles Garrett and certain guys. This is a 3rd and 9. I got two problems with this play. We're running out of wide receivers at this point, but I don't think Aguilar is doing. I think Aguilar is doing a really, really poor job up top blocking. It's 3rd and 9. This is not a 3rd and 9 play for me. This is a 2nd and 4 play. Number one. Number two, these QB power read plays, they don't look as sharp to me as last year. The timing of them, they look a little looser to me. I'm not sure that I'm really trying to break down each individual piece of it, but things don't look as good to me. Although I will say this, I do love the fact that we're leading out with guys other than Ricard. We're not running to Ricard's side all the time. You can see it's 12 personnel. So we're running to Likely side. Likely is playing a little pitter-pat here. He looks to get this guy and then move up to the second level. Aguilar's kind of running that off. I'm not saying that we can't succeed with this play. From a personal standpoint, I want to see this play run to Duve. I want to see us run this play with Duve and not be so dependent on Zay Flowers. If you remember, twice in the Bengals game on that last drive where we finished the game, Duve had 2 fast sweeps out of 22 personnel. That was a 5-yard gain and a 7-yard gain. This one really disappointed me. This is the second half. This is a 2nd and 9. And we're in 22 jumbo. So jumbo means that we've got a 6th offensive lineman on the field. And we're in 22 personnel. So that offensive lineman is Daniel Filele. He's reported as eligible, which makes him a 2nd tight end, hence the number 2. 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 22 personnel. This is not a 2nd and 9 play. When I saw this as we're lining up, I just knew that this was play action boot. I was like, okay, we've been running with Lamar a lot. This has got to be play action boot. We've tricked, I don't want to say tricked, we've elicited a goal line look from the Colts on 2nd and 9. This is 4 down linemen. Outside linebacker, 1 inside linebacker, and then 4 DBs. Another thing I'm really not a big fan of is the way we block this. Mustipher gets bowed back by this D tackle because I don't get it. I mean, we're running a kick scheme to me that's down kick or down. So I think we should be down here and we should be down here and maybe combo front side with him. As it stands, we expect Mustipher to go get this 2-eye. It's the NFL, man. I don't know too many centers that are going to go get a surging 2-eye with no help from the guard at all. It doesn't surprise me that Mustipher gets bowed back and the whole damn thing gets blown up. So besides the play call, I'm not sure about what we're calling, why we're calling these things. If we're trying to take these guys, I mean, look at how they're lined up. They're lined up. Let's pin them inside. Let's just go down. Even if we got a back block with the center, it's a damn down block. You should be able to do that. Likely, additionally, is not winning at all versus Ebucom, who I thought played extremely well. Now that gets to my point. Okay, we got Falele over there and we're running away from him. Cool. This is all we got? Like, this is all we have to run the ball out of 22 jumbo or anything is, oh, this week we're going to line up with Falele to the right and then we're going to run opposite him. That's all we got? I don't know, man. That seems very amateurish. And I'm enjoying that Todd Monken's our offensive coordinator. But this was bad. I don't even think this is a 2nd and 3 play call, let alone 2nd and 9. Am I really off base here? This seemed like someone didn't, and I'm not saying this would happen, but this almost seemed like we thought it was 2nd and 2 for some reason. And we looked on the sheet and saw our 2nd and 2 plays, oh, let's go with this. And we ran Falele on. It's a bad play call. And it's a bad decision to run to Likely's side on top of that. Yeah, we can't run to Falele's side all the time. I was really disappointed in that call. It really bothers me on multiple levels. And then when I keep thinking it's on 2nd and 9, I really can't believe it. It's like one of those plays where I'll watch multiple times. And friends of mine in coaching used to say, hey, man, no matter how many times you watch it, it's still going to be a loss of 2 or whatever it was on that play. All right, this is 7th possession, 3rd and 1. Again, jumbo. And we go unbalanced. This is all we've got on 3rd and 1 is going unbalanced. This is 3 weeks now. I said this after week 1 and week 2. Week 1 we go unbalanced and we run the pin pull pitch to JK for the touchdown. We went unbalanced the 2nd time and got a touchdown to Gus down there. We did the same thing against the Bengals. Come on, this is not going to succeed on a weekly basis. You can do this sometimes, but you got to put it in your pocket for a week or 2. And there has to be some other short yardage stuff that we can execute or that we're willing to even try. I don't know, man. I might sound like I'm being overbearing here. This is the NFL. This does not look like NFL play calling to me. It just doesn't. It's extremely predictable. We're pulling the backside guard. Cool. Likely's got to, seal the backside DN, which is Ebucom. You just get a run through by speed. I don't know if I give you the end zone angle of this one. Yeah, I do. Unfortunately for you, you got to watch it. We're pulling the guard. Look at the short edge here that we've got. There's one man remaining. We're just basically, student body right. Yes, it's succeeded for us at times. There has to be some other stuff that we can do. I don't know. Maybe you weren't as pissed off as I was. I just think that's too easy for NFL defenses to get out there and execute. I'm not done. This is the fumble. Look, Lamar is kind of waiting for things to clear here. Timing-wise, let me start with Bateman. Timing-wise, I feel like this should go to Bateman. I'm calling this mesh. I think Andrews' route is too deep. EA did a video and he, called it some other concept, and I would agree with him that I think Zay Flowers' route's got to be deeper here. Zay's route, Andrews' route, and Bateman's route create a lot of congestion for me. Additionally, this is the 4th time I've seen Bateman do this in his career, where he's running what I think is the underneath route in mesh, and he stops. What I know, and I might be wrong here, is you do that when you see a zone defender that you're going to run into. So there's no reason. Y'all remember the one of the interceptions against the Browns in 2021 at home? That's what Bateman did. The ball deflected off of him. Lamar was trying to target Andrews. So that's number one. I don't know what Bateman's reading here that tells him to stop. If this is mesh or anything that's mesh-y, that's what you get. Andrews is a little deep there, but I don't get it at all. I don't know why he's stopping. Besides, it's a 3-by-1 formation. All game long, the Colts have been playing man over here at the backside of this. So, there has to be some thought here of, okay, I'm on the front side and I'm running to the backside. It's probably going to be man here and someone man on the back. There's going to be a lot of open space there if I just run to it. Additionally, if Bateman will keep running, I think Lamar's got to throw the ball to him. Now, having said that, why don't we pick people ever? I know I'm getting really negative, but this is designed to be part of this for me. Why don't we pick people ever? I understand we're running mesh and we're trying to get Andrews open, but we're running a wheel. Again, it's the backside of a 3-by-1. They've been playing a lot of man. I don't know. I feel like we're limited. in what we're doing. We got quarter split field coverages. I talked about it in a video, how I think that slows Lamar down, but he's not the only one. It slows down a lot of quarterbacks. It's 23 is zoning this off. The safety is taking that route. You got man here, you got man here. So they got two different coverage calls, one on one side of the field, one on the other, hence the term split field. I'm still not done, so my apologies. Fifth possession, 3rd and 5. We don't look well coached in this sequence at all. This 3rd, 4th, 5th possession, I just don't think we look well coached there. And Todd Monken's a great coach. He is. He's 1,000 times better coach than I ever was. But if you were to watch some of this stuff in isolation, I don't know. I don't know how you say we're a well coached team offensively when that's what's being produced. If we have 3 or 4 bad play calls like these, and 3 or 4 bad executions like I'm describing, bad pass pro, and I know there's going to be people who disagree with me on the Bateman, Andrews, Flowers, Drake route. Fine. But bad pass pro, poor ball security by Lamar, some of them. If we do 3 or 4 of those things against the Browns and 2 or 3 bad calls again, our defense better play really good. Because these guys are fantastic on defense. I'm going to get to some of the film here. Forgive me for being negative, but I think we're better than this. I think we're better offensively than this. And all the guys got to come out and try to fix it. All right, so Browns defense, number 1. Everything's going to be contested. They played a lot of man free against the Bengals, a 5-1 look, so rushing 5 and 1 inside linebacker. They've generated 9 sacks so far, but 5 of those was against the Titans last week. 2 against the Bengals, 2 against the Steelers. So it's not like they're having 4 or 5 sacks a week, although they do get to the quarterback well. Against the Steelers, they played extremely fast and fit. Well, really, in all 3 games, they played extremely fast and physical. They can be physically overwhelming at times. It would be easy for me right now to just show some sacks or quarterback pressures by Myles Garrett and leave it at that and roll out of here. Maybe these previews are too long, so if they are, feel free to let me know. And look, Myles Garrett's certainly going to have an impact, okay? He's a great player. But I'm not going to start with that. I'm going to start with what, for some people, might be just an innocuous or inconsequential 3rd and 3 last week against the Titans. I'll let it run and not comment on what I'm noticing. You guys let me know what you think. There's a lot of teams that are doing this so far, using the running back to figure out the coverage against the Browns. I'm not sure that that's what we're going to do. It's an incomplete pass on 3rd and 3 to Hopkins. I'll let it run again. Look how many guys are talking and communicating. Again, they're using the running back to figure out the coverage. Is it zone? Is it man? Watch how many guys are talking hand signals. Like as a former defensive coach, like that right there just makes me smile. Even though it's a Browns team that I'm clearly going to be rooting against on Sunday, but that's doing things the right way, man. That's communicating, and I always want to point those things out. It seems like a small thing. That's called over communication, and that's a good thing. Communicating too much, and I think that's why they're playing really good, because they've been coached to do that. Again, this is not a highlight play, but it's something I noticed watching the film. I'm not sure that we're going to do this. Use the running back to figure out the coverage. I think we've got to play fast. I don't think we need to go hurry up every possession. I don't think we need to go hurry up, 5 possessions. But I think Monken's got to have a hurry up package in, not let these guys are great at communicating. Remove that option from them a few times. Get them off balance. It may not work. They're just really damn good. Not every possession is going to be hurry up, but I don't think you can trick them multiple times for real. The defense coordinator is very, very experienced, and he's got a lot of film of their team defending Lamar. All right, so we're going to focus on some 3rd downs. They played a lot of man-free, like I said, against the Bengals. Look, I'll be honest with you, we would like to avoid these 3rd and 5s, these 3rd and 7. This is a 3rd and 7. We would like to avoid these as much as possible. Getting the run game going in some form or fashion, Throwing the ball on first down out of 11 personnel, I think we probably have to do, to be honest with you. That seems to be when we've hit a lot of big plays. I think they know they can't let Lamar scramble. Look at what the Bengals allowed Lamar to do on that last drive, on that 3rd and 3. They can't play the same coverage all game. They're not just going to line up in man free. If it's 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12, they do, to be honest with you, play a lot of Tampa 2. Some cover 3. This is a 3rd and 3, first possession against the Steelers. They played a lot of man free against the Bengals in week 1. I believe Pickett thinks this is man free, and he's throwing it to the number 2 receiver. And in this case, Delpit, comes off the tight end, basically zones it. I think they're playing man back here. Man back here. Again, it's trips. Delpit lets the tight end release inside, jumps this other slant by, I think, Pickens. Great play. I think we may have to invert the trips. And what I mean by that is put Andrews in the middle of the trips. Put Andrews here and a receiver in here. And if we're going to get this coverage, meaning man, I think we've got to look for something like this, like we did against the Raiders in 2021, and look for this stuff. Or, tight end here, receiver a little bit closer split, running across here, see what the free safety does. And then now we've got to look at maybe number 1. I think if we know what we're going to get, this is 3rd and 3 again, and they're making it look like man free, and then it's not, at least to the trip side. Give Lamar options, ways to attack them, and really make them pay. These guys are smart, and they're very adept at reading the quarterback. In this case, Pickett, I believe, thinks it's man-free. I'm not showing the end zone angle, but great play by Delpit. Another 3rd and 3 against the Bengals, incomplete to T. Higgins. Somebody's got to win some matchups. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, Duve. If we're in these situations, like I said, 3rd and 3, so it turns out to be a 5-man rush only because the running back stays in to block. You can see the games that the Bengals are playing with Myles Garrett, and then the Browns are playing in return. So they walk a running back up. Okay, we're going to help out this right tackle with Myles Garrett. So they walk up JOK as a potential blitzer, when really he's just assigned to cover the running back. The running back stays in to block, and as a result, JOK just reads it. Oh, okay, he's going to stay in to block. Let me go ahead and rush blitz. So that's how come they end up bringing 5. It's 4-man rush, man free with a low hole dropper, and then a free safety in the middle of the field, which most teams typically do not play against Lamar because that 4-man rush is not going to be able to contain all the gaps. JOK ends up being the 5th or the +1 rusher because the running back stayed in to block. That's probably what we'll get at times. I think we're going to be in some. To be honest with you, I think we're going to be in a lot of 3rd downs unless there's more of a commitment to the run game. It's just been too inconsistent so far. So how can we succeed there? They're not just going to let Lamar scramble. We're going to have to win some matchups with guys either on the outside or in the slot. Nelson Aguilar, to me, is a guy who's playing better than he's receiving credit for. Another example of the running back lining up out wide, coming back in. Okay, so now we've determined that it is man coverage. You don't see a ton of communication here by these guys, number 1. Number 2, that's Myles Garrett, doing all this stuff, this twist stuff, lining up at inside linebacker, either blitzing to the right or blitzing to the left. I'm going to tell you, I think we may actually want to see that look because I don't see them checking from one coverage to the other when he's there, if that makes sense. But in any case, running backs on 3rd down have hurt them some. And this is an example of the Steelers doing a nice job of scheming this up. They confirmed that it was man. Look at what they're doing. These guys are screening 44. Pick, screen, rub, whatever you want to call it. What I was talking about earlier, screening or pick for the running back. This could be a Justice Hill or Kenyon Drake, an opportunity for them to make some plays on 3rd down. That was Warren for 30 yards. This is a 3rd and 10. I think this is actually zone, if I remember correct. Again, running back out wide, coming back into the backfield. So he knows that he's probably getting zone. It's actually Tampa 2. You can see the 2 high safeties. The guy who's going to run the middle of the field. And then your 2 corners in the flats. They play this a lot on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. We would like to avoid those situations. But look, Warren does a great job. Converts it. Ultimately, we're going to have to win some one-on-ones. and we're going to depend on those guys to make plays, the running backs. 3rd and 12, they do play very physical. It's 3rd and 12 last week against the Titans. This is a DPI against their corner playing against Treylon Burks. They're very physical. I feel like I've seen 3 or 4 other instances of that same guy being really handsy, but he's a physical. He's a great corner. He's a very good player. It wouldn't surprise me if we do try to test him some. He looks really great in coverage. 3rd and 10, same game. This one's going to be complete to Hopkins down the left side. I think you've got a version of cover 3 here with man on the backside again, and Hopkins makes the catch over the top. A lot of contact there, 26, 28-yard gain, something like that. We haven't thrown a ton down the sidelines, and we don't have OBJ, we don't have Bateman, so who are the guys that we're going to throw to down there? I mean, Zay Flowers is not a guy that's going to win a ton of those jump balls like that. Mark Andrews, potentially. This looks like this is going to be a challenge for Monken to try to scheme some of this stuff up, if you ask me. This is a 4th and 5, and you're going to get man free by the Browns. The Titans know that because they used motion. This is Chris Moore. Well, obviously, we know who he is. And you're going to get a little bit of a pick here by Hopkins, and then Moore's going to run the wheel and get a 33-yard catch up the right sideline. It's a great throw by Tannehill, but look what Tannehill did as well. Now, I don't think it really impacts the free safety on this play, but this is not the reason why the play succeeds. But watch what he does when the ball is snapped. First of all, again, they suss out the coverage or determine the coverage based upon the guy moving. They're in the middle of communicating. So these guys have communicated that they're going to take outside and inside. He knows it's man. He knows he's going to the wheel unless something, White opens itself up with the coverage, but look what he's doing first. He's looking here first. He may actually be trying to see if someone's blitzing or what's happening. I think he's holding intentionally long here because he knows he's coming back to the wheel. That, to me, is the type of thing we've got to do more with Lamar because people are so heavily dependent on looking at his eyes, looking at his face mask, because he's looking and he's throwing to number 1 or number 2, or he's taking off in a lot of cases. Again, I don't think it really impacts the free safety on this play. But it's an example of maybe some of the things that we can incorporate a little bit more. Our defense is going to have to be relied upon. Like, there's no question about it. Our defense is going to have to be play well. Deshaun Watson, I'm going to show you some run plays here in a moment. Them against the run, sometimes it's kind of sick and not fun to watch. But Deshaun Watson with the injured shoulder is possibly going to hold their offense back. Like I said, I do think that they've got to get better offensively at some point, get a little bit more consistent. There's just too much talent over there, too well coached. I think the Browns' offense is going to be able to hit another gear at some point. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it's not this week. And we certainly have been playing a very good brand of defense. We need some type of commitment to the run game, and maybe a wrinkle that we add. I wonder if with Leonard, this is going to be a series of run plays, by the way, against their defense that is quite unsuccessful, especially last week. We can't rely on Lamar too much, especially early, especially his legs. We cannot just run the ball with him so much. The hurry up, I think, is an option to use strategically, maybe early, get him a little bit off balance. I also offer to you, I'd like to see Myles Garrett be on the field 6-8 plays in a row. Try to get him winded a little bit if possible. I mean, the guy's an incredible specimen, and I'm sure he's in amazing physical condition. I'd like to see him playing a little bit tired. Some designed look-offs, like I showed you that wheel route to Chris Moore up at the top side of the screen. Some designed look-offs where Lamar's looking one way, coming back to the other side. And then, look, we've got to avoid turnovers. You cannot turn the football over against these guys. The way their defense is playing, not just the way they're playing, like, it's very sound, but they'll take the thing back to the house. They look like that type of group where they would feast on a turnover and multiple guys will be leading the way, very similar to the way the Ravens have played defense for years. I think we have the ability to do all those things. Do we have the ability to do all those things and stay consistent for 4 quarters? Well, if you base it off of last week's game against the Colts, it would seem that we don't. But we played quite well against the Bengals on the road in week 2. The AFC North looks like a 4-way battle in some ways. The Bengals being 1 and 2, there's people who would put them down, but they looked really good last week in a lot of ways against the Rams on the road, I believe. You guys let me know what you think of the Browns defense. They're very impressive. They present a unique challenge. I will say, and I forget who it was in the comment section of a video indicated this, the Colts kind of prepared us for the Browns because of how fast they played, the four-man rush, and then occasionally playing some man-free. Hopefully that Colts game made us better, and we had a good week of practice. It certainly feels good to get a lot of guys back, particularly Linderbaum, Gus being available. Marcus Williams is an absolute soldier. I have no idea how he's able to already return and play. It's kind of a unique guy, if you ask me. But this was my look at the Ravens offense versus the Browns defense. I think it's a unique challenge, and I can't wait to see the game on Sunday. You guys let me know what you think of the video, some of the plays that I broke down. And if you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this preview, which I know went on a little long, please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.